Oh, it is true.
All right. So yesterday we talked about xylem, how it's the tubes that get water from the roots up to the leaves. Today, though, what we're going to talk about is how the tree or the plant gets the sugar that it makes in the leaves through photosynthesis down to the roots where it gets stored until it's needed. And honestly, a lot of the sugar the plant makes and needs is actually stored for, for deciduous trees and stuff like that. It's stored for over the winter. Okay, and for like your annual plants and your perennial plants that die off in the winter and then you plant and they come back in the spring, they use the sugar and stuff at night when they're not able to go through photosynthesis. So, and we'll cover photosynthesis later on, but that's just know that photosynthesis is the process where the plant turns sunlight and water and oxygen into carbon dioxide and sugar. But we'll get through that. So, but we need to know how the plant gets that sugar to the roots. And that actually happens through a process called, we'll call them tubes, even though they're not really tubes, through something called the phloem. So that is the fun spelling of phloem. Okay. And they're called actually vessels. They're not tubes. They're called vessels. And they're called vessels because they're alive. Which is an important difference between xylem, because xylem is dead. Right? We talked about how the cells dissolve in between and you get the long tubes. So phloem vessels are actually alive. And generally speaking, the phloem vessels are around the outside of the stem. And in larger plants, the stem, remember, is called the trunk. I should still count properly. All right. So this is one of the reasons why it's really important. People will tell you not to peel the bark off of trees. Well, it's okay if you pull a little bit off of one section, but if you cut all the way around the tree to take off the bark, you're going to kill the tree. Because what happens is you're actually cutting the phloem. And that's what the tree needs. Okay. So this is kind of the outermost layer of the tree, and actually the tree grows more phloem every year. Okay. So the only thing we have left to do is we need to kind of draw a little diagram of what the phloem looks like. So let's see what my drawing skills are like. The way it's going to look a little similar to your xylem in the sense that you've got kind of two cells that come together. But what's different is in phloem, where the two cell walls come together, you get a plate. I'm just trying to think of the best way to draw the plate. And in that plate, you have little holes. It's basically a sieve. Okay, so think of a strainer that you have at your that you might have seen at your house or something. You know, where if you're making noodles, you pour the noodles into the strainer and the water goes through. That's a sieve. Okay. So, and then the other thing that happens is your phloem is actually surrounded by other cells. Like you'll have other living cells all around it. I better not draw it because my drawing skills are not very good. I don't want you to get confused. So, but basically what you get here is, I think I spelled zoom in. So it'll let, I guess because it's a sieve, right, you can only get certain size particles through. You're not gonna get massive sized particles. So you can kind of control the flow of what's going on and where things go from one direction to the next. All right. That is indeed all we need to know about transport in plants. Okay, xylem takes stuff up. Stuff is usually water. Phloem brings sugar-filled water or sap back down to the roots, okay?